Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Roll Jump Media podcast. I'm here once again with my co-host Andres and our recurring panelists Jose and Luis. All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 9, how you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. Pretty good. Excuse me.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Quick preview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be going over the game sales for the month of April. We're also going to be going over the game showcases that have been recently announced, and we're going to talk about our favorite games of the generation so far. But before we get into all that good stuff, we are going to be talking about what we've been playing, but I wanted to bring up one thing about Ghost of Tsushima because there's been new information that has been released. So I referenced a article from GameSpot by some Alessandro Barbosa wrote this article. He referred to an IGN interview with creative director Jason Connell. He's the creative director of Ghost of Tsushima, and he says that the developers won't make you choose between being samurai or ghost. So for anybody that was worried that they'll lock you in to ghost or samurai at certain parts of the game, you can rest easy because you can freely choose between those two styles, which is pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what we've been playing. All right, let's go in the usual order. To avoid spoilers, use the timestamps in the description.
All right. So, what I've been playing, the usual Animal Crossing. Um, I've been farming for scorpions just to be able to sell them. I have a good amount of them. So, but yeah, I've been like every night. I've been using Nook Miles tickets to go to other islands just to get scorpions. Um,
How was your first
Other than
first
that,
encounter with a scorpion? Was it did you die or did you actually get it the first time? Because I died.
I died because I didn't see it coming.
Or
I
not
was
died, but
running around.
fainted.
Yeah, I was running around my island and I was going to the beach, and out of nowhere, a scorpion comes out and like stings me. Um,
You must
but
have been
yeah,
in a
that
rush.
yes. I mean, I was thinking a scorpion to pop out of nowhere. So,
True, true.
um, what else? Uh, Other than that, I finally was able to play some Apex Legends.
Oh, tell me about this.
Man, it's so addicting. And I don't know, for some reason, I feel like this season, and I mean, I played season what? Season 3, 4, and 5, and the first one, I guess.
For sure.
And I don't know, I feel like I enjoy this one more. I don't know if it's because of like the variety that it has now, with different characters. Because I remember like when it first came out, it was just what, like 7 characters you can use.
Yeah, it was about that number. Was it? I want
Yeah,
to say six, but I might be wrong.
yeah,
Yeah.
and now we have Loba, we have I forget
Crypto,
Crypto Revenant.
Octane, Watson. Those are the new ones, right?
Yeah, I think there's more variety to the gameplay and like strategies, and
Were you
I've been
able to
enjoying
get
it.
to? Were you able to get Loba?
I haven't.
No.
I still have two characters that I need to unlock. Uh, Crypto and Nova. I still haven't been able to unlock that,
Ah.
so I'm still trying to get enough coins to unlock those. Uh, but I've seen gameplay of Nova, and she's an interesting character.
Yeah, how she
Yeah,
puts the little she has like a pylon or a pylon. She puts a pylon down and she has a radius as to where she can get stuff. I think
stuff.
also from airdrops as well, she can actually get them once the players open them or something like that.
Already.
Yeah, I think I seen that. Like somebody like an airdrop came down and then somebody put the pylon down and he was with the squad or whatever and they were like, "Okay, let's wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it." And then they opened it. The team opened the the airdrop, and then they immediately got everything that was in the airdrop from the other team. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Apex. I feel like Apex is it's up there, among the best battle royale games.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
constantly changing, it's constantly improving. So that's good. And also, I finally got to play a few minutes of Uncharted 2 again. Um, that game just takes me back to the first time I played it.
Going back a decade, my boy.
It's so good. It's been that long. Yeah,
2009. That was Uncharted 2.
beautiful game. That was the first game we got for like PS3.
Oh, word? That was the first one.
So that was good to play it. But yeah, I only got it like, I want to say 5 hours into the game this past week.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to play much. And then that, I've been playing Smash online and trying to improve my league. I've been failing miserably. And
Yo, I'm always open for some 1v1s, my boy. You already know how I feel about 1v1s.
that's the thing, though. I need to improve my league. So
Should I do the same and improve my Shulk? I don't know. We'll see.
maybe we'll
Maybe.
see.
Okay. Your Link is actually
Yeah.
really scary. You
Yeah,
strike
same
fear
thing.
in me. Every time you pick Link, I'm like, oh no. I slap my cheeks,
And
get myself ready.
clench your cheeks.
Yeah. Oh, slap
Yeah,
my
dude.
cheeks, not clench them. That's pause on that.
It's always an adrenaline rush playing Smash. But other than that, it's a few minutes of Breath of the Wild. Just wanted to see if I had the Sheik outfit.
What you do?
But
Which you do?
which I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much it.
All right, that was a
I
healthy
popped
dose of
in.
gaming right there.
Yeah, I popped in Starlink. I don't know if you guys remember Starlink, the
Starlink.
Ubisoft scheme. I got it for like
Okay.
$10 on Black Friday.
Did you get the little
And
airship too? Hit the
yeah, I got the
Fox's
whole
R-wing.
box. Yeah, the Star Fox box.
Nice.
It's alright. I played like what, like 15 minutes of it. I don't know if it was because I was tired then. I played a few minutes and I had to put it down. I don't know, but I don't know. I'll try it again to see if I can get more into it.
All right, fair enough,
But
fair enough.
that's pretty much it.
Sweet. All right, Jose.
Well, for me, it's been Animal Crossing. Um, for the what is it like 10th week?
We only had 9 so far, so for all 9 weeks, basically.
Uh, uh,
You're good.
Animal Crossing is like my anchor right now. It's the one
It's
game, the
holding you
one content
down.
I like. um, so I mean, that's been fun. Um, we finally got a cat villager in our island.
Yes.
I've always wanted a cat villager in my island, so we got
Oh, nice. I
Rosie.
never seen one. I don't think.
You don't have one in
I
your
don't
island?
think so. No, not a cat villager.
Yeah, we got Rosie,
That sounds
so
cool.
yeah, she's cute. Anyways, so we've played that. I've played that. I've also popped in a bit of Super Smash Brothers as well. Just
Which
playing
character are
online.
you? Which character are you playing as?
Honestly, when I recently playing online, I've been using Kirby.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah.
Huh.
So I mean, there's that I've discovered it. Well, I mean, I've always liked Kirby, but I'm starting to warm up to it competitively.
That's
But
interesting because
but yeah,
a lot of people think, or the people that play it a lot, put Kirby like right just above Little Mac as the worst character in the game, like second worst.
really,
Yeah,
not Kirby. Kirby.
yeah.
Good for
I don't know
you.
why. I don't know why. He seemed pretty solid to me, but there's reasons for some reason. But if you're having fun, then
Uh,
that's the way you go, man.
yeah. I mean, I've won a few battles, a couple battles with Kirby, so he's not that bad. But anyways, so yeah, Smash and Animal Crossing. I do play Pokemon Sword like once in a while. I'm trying to get this one item that I need to evolve one of my Pokemon, and the only way to get it is in like a bargain store where they sell it, and it's a different item every day. So every day I have to go in and check and see what item they're selling, just
What
to
is it that
check
you're
that
trying to
it's
get?
the chip pot.
Oh, really? You're trying to get
Yeah,
Poltegeist?
yeah. I caught two authentic guys, so I need to evolve it. I have the what is it?
Sinistea, right?
Sinisty. Yeah, I have the because it's the authentic one, and then it's the other one, the regular one, or like the more common one. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I mean, I get in for like what, a minute just to check the item, and then if it's not it, then I just get out.
Oh,
How
okay.
So
mad
that
how mad are you gonna be right now that when I tell you this that I have like 3 or 4 cracked spots that I'm just like
well,
fucking
I
with.
mean, crackpots, those are used to evolve like the fake Sinisty, which is like the more popular one, the more common one. For the authentic one, you need a chip pot, which I
Uh,
guess it's rare, and so I need that one to evolve the authentic Sinisty, but I haven't gotten it
interesting.
yet. But yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting for the DLC. I'm excited for that. Want to revisit Pokemon? I haven't touched Pokemon since Animal Crossing came out, so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Are you more
that's
excited for the Tundra one or the other? What? There's two of them. I forget the names. Which one seems more appealing to you?
they're both they're both good. Honestly, I'm looking more forward to the Tundra one, only because the legendary birds are gonna have like their own new forms. And then like one legendary Pokemon, grass rat, whatever it is.
Mm, okay.
But, uh, it looks cool. But obviously, I'm excited for the Isle of Armor too. That one's coming out first. So.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
All
that's
right.
pretty much it.
Sweet, sweet, dude. All right. I suggest that Andres, you go next because what I did this week is probably gonna lead to a healthy discussion. So let's go ahead and get yours done. You still there?
Hello, I guess it's not.
Okay, so I'll go. Let's see. I guess I'll start with Breath of the Wild. I popped into Breath of the Wild last night for a little bit. Um, I wanted to try out a new playstyle where I did sneaking and bow and arrows. But I was reminded by that game that resources are precious, and how I left the game was I didn't have much resources in terms of arrows, and my weapons were about to degrade and stuff like that. So just the impression of survivability that game gives you to where you have to salvage for a lot of things. Um, I was kind of reminded of how that gameplay loop was. Sneaking still really fun. Bow and arrow is still really fun. The thing that stood out to me most was I was messing around with the controls because Nintendo just like a month or two ago they allowed you to remap buttons. So I was trying to remap a button to the sprint button to a different button to see if that was more conducive to my playstyle and
Sensibilities.
sensibilities. Yeah. So what I did during that time was that like three foxes were like ganging up on me, and I was trying to stealth the whole time, but you can't stealth foxes. At least I can't because I'm not that good. So I ended up meleeing them, and then one of them was running away, the last one. So I was practicing how to do the shield surfing.
Yeah.
So then I did a shield surf down a little bit of an incline, and then I was on its trail, and then I jumped up in the air, and then I went into my hang glider maneuver, and then I shot my arrow midair and got the last fox. That was pretty cool. So like little things like that in that game is super fun to do. And the reason why I stopped was because I went into a trial of, what is it called? The trial of strength.
Child.
It's when you have to fight one of the guardians, and they have like a shield and a,
Oh, right.
yeah.
Oh, right.
So I got into one of those, and he took a lot of hits, and I died to it, and then I didn't want to play anymore, so I stopped. So
All right.
maybe maybe I do want to see the end of that game at least, because I heard that it's not that hard to kind of like brute force it and not worry about the side content as much. So I put like 40 hours into the game. I've seen a lot of the side content. I just kind of want to see the end of the game. So I'll pop back in. Oh wait. Okay. Let me unplug this. So I think I'm gonna pop back in pretty soon and just keep continuing that journey into Breath of the Wild. Um, in addition to that, I played Final Fantasy XIV, like I've been playing for weeks and weeks. Same status here, not getting bored of it, still having a 10 out of 10 amount of fun with that game. It's actually insane. And
That's good.
yeah. And lastly, because I loved Remake 3 so much, I went back and purchased the original on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita PSP version that they had, and I actually finished the whole game during the week. The game, you can really see the difference. Well, before I go into it, my co-host here?
Andres, you here?
Oh, I've been talking to you guys this whole time, and I didn't realize my mic was off. Okay, my bad.
Oh, okay. So you were there the whole time.
Yeah, I was wondering why you guys weren't really responding to me. I was just like, okay. I'm over here salty, like, okay, y'all gonna ignore me. I see you.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Yeah, my
Okay.
mic was off. Okay,
Okay.
but yes, I'm here. I'm ready to rage.
Okay. Sure. All right. So I have a lot of positive things to say about this game actually. So we'll go ahead and start with all the positives that I had. For an old game, dude, that came out in 1999, um, that whole section before you get to the clock tower, I'll put a warning for the game
For a 20
while I
plus
edit
year old game, okay, sure.
or whatever. Like right now, if you're worried about spoilers for the original Resident Evil 3, just you can go and skip it. There's timestamps in the description that you can talk about, or you can skip to. But yeah, all the area before the clock tower, in the original compared to the remake, that section feels like it's 6 times larger for some reason. It feels vast.
Because you actually get a chance to explore Raccoon City. It's not linear. Like I told you before you even tried the game that like because there's so many different routes you can take.
Yeah.
Like you can go to the power station, you can go to the TV station, you can go to um the like to the press, the what is it, the Raccoon City Press something, like where they do the newspapers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's
That's
so
towards
many
the end
different
of you
paths.
exploring, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean like there's like 4 or 5 different paths you can take because they're all like you need all the key items to get the train operational.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once you hit the clock tower, it does become a little linear, I guess, in the sense because it's just one building on its own.
Yeah, it goes clock tower and then the park
Yeah, from the clock tower you travel to the park, and then it ends
and
on
then
the
the
dead
dead
factory.
factory. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, like that was like the main thing for me that I told you that like the remake failed in that aspect because they made like the actual like downtown section of Raccoon City, like they made it linear.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they literally told you, okay, well you got to go to the substation first. From the substation, you got to go to the railway station. From the railway station, you got to go to the subway. Like it's not there was no choice, you know.
yeah. You can totally like bypass all the exploration too. Like the original kind of like at least first playthrough, like the branches that you can go through. I don't know,
Hmm.
like something about that exploration, like it's not too overwhelming to where you get lost and not want to play anymore. I think that's a really good game design to where they put enough of exploration in there for you to get immersed in the world and not feel like it's tedious.
Yeah, like
I,
for especially for its time, like they made Raccoon City like pretty grand, because like
yeah.
within each section of the map, like there's scaffoldings you could climb up to, or there's like fire escapes, where like you can find like some red herbs and stuff like that,
Mhm.
like so that like all that like all those little like all those like side streets and byways that you can take, like that just made Raccoon City all the more bigger, which is what
Yeah.
the remake failed to do. Because like, yeah, sure, they made the streets like pretty wide, and like it made Raccoon City seem big, but it's like it took away the spirit of what the original was,
Yeah.
because like
Cuz and
they basically took away that like that the exploring aspect of it, like they took that
mhm.
away, like
Mhm. They
there's
did.
nothing to explore there.
Yeah, cuz in the original there's you feel like there's a lot of streets to walk down. But in
Yeah.
the remake, like there's like three that I can think of. The one where you're coming right out of the gate, and then there's the guys, the zombies on the side that
Uh-huh.
are trying to come at you, and then there's a pillar of like flames behind zombies with the gate, and then you come back and then you go into the diner or whatever. So that's
Hmm.
like the first street I think of, and then the street with the pharmacy and everything in the remake. That's another one.
Yeah, the back, that's technically the back alley. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the street where you're going to the drain demos, that little puzzle maze.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Which isn't even really a street, because it's just like,
It's like a alleyway almost.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, but like all that, like that's technically all just one street, because it's all connected. It's all separated.
yeah, and it feels truncated too, like in the
Yeah.
remake. Everything, yeah, just that whole area in RE3, the original's done much better. Obviously, it's prettier in the remake, but the original
Well, yeah,
is where it's
obviously,
at.
but I
Yeah,
mean, like, if Capcom was hoping that they could get by with just like the visuals, like they were sorely mistaken, because
yeah,
I was waiting in anticipation for months, years even, for a Resident Evil 3 remake, and my God, like
oh
okay, like the
man,
nostalgia hit me at first, like I was just like, oh my God, it's finally here. But it's like, that when we finished that playthrough of it, I was mad.
yeah,
I
dude.
was so disappointed.
I can see where all that just that experiencing it firsthand. I do see, I do
Oh,
see it
because
now.
it was especially frustrating having to listen to your dumbass be like, "Oh, this is such a good game. It's so good," and I'm all like, "Shut up." I was like, you had no idea. Like you were like pushing the boundaries. Like you were raising my blood pressure. Like, ooh, I was not having it with you.
I was having a much better time than I was than was it Final Fantasy VII Remake, saying that I was having a better time with the with RE3 Remake. Oh man, yeah, it was a mess. But yeah, there's not to say that the remake doesn't have any redeeming qualities though,
Mm,
because
far and few between. There's some redeeming, but not enough.
yeah, but let's see. The clock tower, I guess we'll talk about the clock tower next. Um, I don't know why they didn't include that in the game. Cause
Yeah, they relegated the entire clock tower section to just like the outside plaza fight, because
yeah,
there that like that the fight out in the plaza, that did happen obviously in both games,
hmm,
except in the remake they went and turned Nemesis into a dog for some reason, and then in the original Like he was like in his, you know, not second form, I guess, because he technically wasn't in his second form,
Yeah.
but
They just
um
gave him the tentacle that's in the RE3 remake. They kind of just like put that all around his arm and his body. That's how I could
yeah,
describe it. He still maintains the same form. He just gets more jacked up because you beat him so much that he just looks more grotesque as the game goes on.
yeah, because he has yeah, yeah, and I remember now the tentacles, like he has like two more like tentacles sprouting from like his upper arm, like from his shoulder or something,
Yeah.
and he fights using the tentacle more, yeah, but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Like the only way I can rationalize like that many changes done in the remake was because maybe that's what they had intended originally, but they just didn't have the time back then because again, they only had like less than a year to make Resident Evil 3 Nemesis back in 1999,
Uh-huh.
right? So I don't know if this is what they had originally intended and they finally had a chance to like make that, that
Or
vision
his
come to
form,
life.
like him being the form he took in RE3 remake.
Yeah, like like being able to evolve into the multiple stages, like the
Yeah,
dog
yeah.
form and all that stuff, and then you know, but I don't know, man. Like I felt cheated. I felt cheated because like, and then especially you want to know, like we haven't really talked about this, but you know how like in the concept art, like a couple of days, maybe like 2 weeks before the game came out, like they released like the Nemesis render, and it's of him like in stage one Nemesis, and he has the rocket launcher, right? Do you remember that image or
I
that
don't
render?
recall that image specifically now.
Okay, well they released a render.
Uh-huh. Oh. Are you
Excuse me.
guys still there?
No, I'm there. I
Oh,
just
okay.
I muted it because I sneezed.
Oh,
So
okay, okay, sure.
yeah, um, yeah, they released that render of Nemesis with a rocket launcher, and then he didn't even show up with the rocket launcher in the game. Like Nemesis with the rocket launcher only had like all of a minute, if that, of screen time. Because it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you're running down an alleyway when he's coming after you with the rocket launcher. That's it.
Yeah. Uh, in the original, he had the rocket launcher.
Like fifty
Oh,
percent of the time. Like a lot of the fights started out with him with the rocket launcher, and then like once you damaged him enough, or like if you managed to shoot a rocket in midair, it would blow the rocket launcher up. So and then it would just be like him chasing after you, like punching you or lassoing you with his tentacle.
oh, right. So it's when you're at the diner area with Carlos,
And then
and
yeah,
you escape him.
yeah. Also
Yeah.
inside of the raccoons,
So
like the second fight with Nemesis. So when once you picked up the, what was it, like after you went into the STARS office and you're leaving the RPD, like he jumps into a window like on that
yeah,
staircase. He comes
dude,
in with the rocket launcher too.
dude, Nemesis in the original is like he's like so more
It's
menacing in the original
it,
because
it
like
hold on. You're cutting off.
oh hello.
Okay,
Okay, he's so
you
much
good?
more. No, I'm good.
Okay.
He's so much more menacing in the original because like I guess it's a combination of I played on hard mode, so I feel like I was always like in the beginning I feel like I was barely equipped, like I had enough ammo to like deal with him.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But like if you choose to fight him like twice in the beginning when he pops up, like second time I feel like I barely scrunched by and I had no more ammo left. So I had to deal with the
Hmm.
zombies and stuff by just like scrounging up whatever I could or just like walking or like running by them.
Yep.
So in the remake, you kind of feel like you can handle any situation. I
Hmm.
don't know if that has to deal with like the thing that I praised so much about the remake was the dodging.
Right.
And like yeah, it's really cool, but because that dodge is so effective, like you feel like you can deal with almost any situation and conserve a lot of ammo.
Well, see, the
And
dodge, the dodge in the original, like it was there, but it was
yeah,
super hard to trigger it. Like you basically had to time it exactly right. Like you could not be like half of a second off, because then it wouldn't. it wouldn't apply.
Would you
And then
believe me?
see what?
Would you believe me if I said that for the first like 45 minutes of the game, I dedicated it to trying to
Yeah, no,
master
I
that?
do. I do believe you. Yeah, because that's exactly what that's your play style is like you want to take advantage of the dodge mechanic. I know. How
Yeah.
how successful were you though?
Um, so in the beginning, I kind of abandoned abandoned it, to be honest, but I kind of did like I feel like I was 60%, like half and half. I was 50-50.
Okay.
Like 50% of the time I could shrug them off, probably 40% of the time I could shrug them off, and 60% of the time I couldn't time it right to where I could shrug them off and then get a shot in. And the
Yep.
only way I could do it uh, kind of regularly was if I used a slower aiming weapon like a shotgun or a heavy weapon, because a
Right.
pistol was very, very hard to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was annoying, sure, but um, because I don't want to excuse it for being annoying, but because it wasn't easy to pull off, you kind of felt more survival horror-ish. Like you felt
Yep.
those vibes more as opposed to the remake. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a pro and con there to both. Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's no question in my mind that the original was way harder than the remake. No,
Oh
there's no
yeah.
there's, there, because I mean, okay, the dodge button in the original, I mean, it could also be because of the limitations at the time, because obviously the controls back then there weren't as many buttons and there wasn't as like a whole lot of variety like there is now.
Hmm.
But I mean, the dodge button was basically your aim button, right? Whereas now, for the remake, like there was
It's
a
its own button.
dedicated, yeah,
Hmm.
there was a dedicated button for the dodge alone. So if that obviously made it easier. Not only that, but I mean, just to trigger the dodge on its own, like even if you miss, like she kind of did like this little like stumble kind of move where like she kind of like would like
Uh-huh.
drill
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
would you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like there was kind of like a pseudo dodge going on there.
Yeah, even if you did fail it, it was more
Yeah,
forgiving.
even if you
Hmm.
failed, but like heck no, like if you missed in the original, like you got bit, or if you were fighting against Nemesis, like you got punched. Like there was no, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean definitely like in the original, like there was definitely more of a consequence, and it was way more of a fight or flight like situation there.
Hmm.
Either you chose to fight the Nemesis, and whatever ammunition you had, like you better make sure you were prepared, or you could just choose, or you just run away. Other than the scripted fights, obviously, right? But
Yeah.
because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you already know my opinion on it. That the original is millions, like millions times better than the remake. Like the remake that we got, like I felt cheated. I felt cheated out of what Resident Evil 3 was supposed to
Yeah.
be. You know.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I don't know what if that was supposed to be what Resident Evil 3 was good. Well, I don't know if that was the Resident Evil 3 that they had envisioned in 1998. I don't know if that's what it was meant to be, and they finally were able to realize all those plans that they had back then. But I mean, I feel like they should have done what they did with Resident Evil 2, and they should have just been faithful and given the fans the game that actually saw the light of day. Because you know how Resident Evil 2 at one point was also Resident Evil 1.5, right? Because Claire Redfield, she was just like a last minute, or not a last minute, but like I want to say like halfway through development, she was added on. Like there was no Claire Redfield. Like they were supposed to be Leon and another character called Elsa Walker. I don't know if you guys know about this.
Mm-mm.
No? What about the twins? Y'all know about that or no?
No, no.
Okay,
This is the
well
first time
let me give you a little bit of Resident Evil history here.
it's very
Back when Resident Evil 2 was first being developed, there was a lot of things behind it, right? So I guess when the original Resident Evil came out, like I don't know if I can't remember specifically if it was the development team or if it was the fans that were like, oh, you know what, like this was kind of trash. So they remade Resident Evil 1, or they didn't remake it, but they added more content and then they re-released it as Resident Evil Director's Cut, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in this Director's Cut, they kind of expanded a little bit on the original Resident Evil, and then they were like, okay, well, you know what? We're gonna take the director's cut version of Resident Evil 2, and that's what we're gonna take to Resident Evil 2, right? So when they started development on Resident Evil 2, like they were probably like, they were like almost done. Like the game was done, like I want to say it was like 70 or 80% done before they were like, you know what? Like this is not what we wanted. So they literally trashed it. Like they scrapped it and they started again. They started over. And the game that they had that was supposed to be Resident Evil 2, they renamed it Resident Evil 1.5. And some of the director's cuts versions of Resident Evil 1 actually came with Resident Evil 1.5 as a demo, basically for canceling what was then Resident Evil 2. They're like, oh, we're sorry that, Resident Evil 2 is getting pushed out because we're getting start over. So here's Resident Evil's director's cut with Resident Evil 1.5 demo so that y'all can see where, what Resident Evil 2 might be. You get me? You guys following me so far?
It's
Yes.
a lot of lore,
Yes.
but sure.
Okay. So in this Resident Evil 1.5, you got to play as Leon and another character named Elza Walker, who was like a professional motorcyclist or something like that. I don't know what the hell she was supposed to be, but it basically played out the same. There's the Leon scenario, and then there's the Elsa scenario, and then you play the game. And well, the thing about that one is that you actually had party members on that one. So like in Leon's game, you got partnered up with I think it's him, Ada, and somebody else, like a third person. I can't remember who. Or I think it's Kendo, Robert Kendo, the guy who sells you or he doesn't sell you, but like at the beginning of the game, like he's the gun shop owner, right?
Yeah.
And then in Elza's playthrough, like it was Elza, Sherry, and Chief Brian Irons, who back then was actually a good guy. Like in that version of the game, he was actually a good guy. So like you had like your party of three, and then you actually made your way through Raccoon City, blah 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 blah. So they scrapped that, and then they redid everything again. They reworked the story elements. They went back to just having a single person playing through the game, with a couple of areas where you had a second person. They made Brian Irons, Chief Irons. They made him a bad guy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyways, when Remake 2 came out, so now fast forward 20 years later, when Remake 2 came out, like they were in an interview, like the developers were like, yeah, you know what, like we wanted to have like Elza Walker in the game and everything, but like it just felt like we should respect the game that actually saw the light of day. But we added in the Elza Walker costume as an Easter egg for those that wanted to see Elza.
Oh, okay, so that's what Claire has.
Yeah, so in one
Ah.
of her alternate costumes, like there's one where she's like in like a racing like NASCAR
Yeah, I
type
was
ish.
wondering. It seemed random.
Yeah, that was the default costume of Elza Walker, because Elza Walker was
Oh.
a professional motorcyclist.
The lore did pay off.
Yes.
Okay,
So
I
what
see.
they did, so because they scrapped Elza in favor of Claire, Claire, instead of her becoming a professional motorcyclist, she was just a motorcycle enthusiast, and then they gave her the Elsa Walker costume as an alternative.
Cool.
So, anyways, that's all that was just to get to the point where, like, the developers, when Remake 2 came out, were like, you know what, like we're gonna stay true to the game that actually saw the light of day, which was Resident Evil 2, not 1.5, obviously. But we're still gonna include some Easter eggs here and there of what could have been, of what
Mhm.
what could have been. So that's what I'm saying. Like if what Remake 3 is what they had intended Resident Evil 3 to be back in the day,
Mhm.
like I guess that would have been cool. But they should have just done what they did with Resident Evil 2, and they should have just, they should have paid their respects to it, but they should have kept true to the game that actually came out, you
Mhm.
know?
Right.
Which they didn't, which is very, very upsetting to me, especially after you kept trying to shove it down my throat, Ray.
All right, but before we completely poo-poo on Resident Evil 3, I do want to say what it does better, in my opinion.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so this is just because it's an old game, but pulling off headshots in the original Resident Evils? Is it just chance?
Yeah, it's it's part chance, it's part, you
It's
know,
kind of positioning too, though, right? Because if you get a
it
good
has
angle,
yeah, it has to do with your positioning. It has to do with how much health you have also. A lot of people don't know that, but it has to do with your health. It's a lot
uh,
easier to pull off a headshot on full health, like when you're like maxed out, um, versus uh having like a orange caution or even a danger, or at least that's what the handgun anyways, right? Obviously it's mountains easier to pull off a headshot if you're using the shotgun or if you're using the magnum or anything like that. But as
yeah,
far as the handgun is concerned, it has a lot to do with your health.
yeah,
It also has to do with your positioning because like obviously the game doesn't have auto aim. um it also depends on how close and how far away the zombies are. There's a lot of different variables
yeah.
to it. But I mean, if you want to chalk it up to being chance, sure. But I mean, it's space. It
You
there's like a
can
science behind it.
skew it in your favor if you know what you're
Yeah,
doing. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So headshots in the remake, very satisfying. It's you can optimize it in the original, but it's kind of less reliable. So that's just a gameplay thing that I like better in the remake. But it's just because, it's from 1999. You can't expect a lot from it, so I'm not gonna ding it too much for that. Um, the characterization of Jill and Carlos in the remake, I find much better.
Yes.
Um, like the whole thing, like Jill in the original, she's more just fueled by um, wanting to take down Umbrella. Am I correct in saying that?
In the original or the new one?
In the original, because in the I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I missed a story beat or not, but I know in the remake, because I played that more, um, she wants to take down Umbrella, but she also is interested in helping out the civilians,
No,
as
you're cutting
evidenced by
off
like the.
again, right?
Oh, hello.
Hold on.
Oh no, we have technical difficulties.
Yep.
Let's see.
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you
we can hear
fine,
you.
but I'm cutting out.
Yeah, you were like cutting in and out, but
Is it temporary? Am I okay now?
yeah, you're good now. Okay, so go back like 10 seconds, and then
Okay.
yeah.
So I was saying that because I don't know if I missed a story beat or something, but in the original, Jill was kind of motivated just solely on trying to take down Umbrella. But in the remake, they kind of give her more of a dynamic by saying that she wants to help out the civilians, as evidenced by when uh, she was convinced by what's his name, Mikhail,
Mikhail. Hmm.
yeah, to aid you know, their
Well,
platoon, and then also like just one more thing before you
yeah. Go
chime in
ahead.
as
Go ahead.
well.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the game, you know how that whole section at the very end of the remake where she's in the nest
Uh
and
huh.
she gets the vaccine, right? And
Right.
then she wants to use that to subvert or avoid the bomb coming through to blow up the
Right.
whole city. Like there's none of that in Resident Evil, the original. So
Right.
it's kind of like that whole dynamic of her, like at the very end of remake, how you know Nikolai pretty much shot the the vial and like ruined her
Right.
whole hope of preventing a whole catastrophe, and you can see the pain on her face because of what she went through.
Right.
That whole thing resonated it much more with me in the original and made me feel and in the remake and made me feel more for Jill as a character.
Okay. All right.
I don't know
I
how
see
you
where
feel
I
about
see.
that.
No. I see where you're coming from because yeah. Um. Well, because okay, in the original, there really weren't any survivors. I'm pretty sure there's like a cutscene or something where like Carlos is like, oh yeah, like we're gonna go round up any survivors, but you don't actually get to see any survivors, you know.
Yeah,
So I
that
feel like
you
obviously they didn't have a bearing on the story as much as the remake, because at least in the remake, like you get to see like oh there's still some people alive. right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's people already in the subway, there's people out in the streets, running to safety still.
I think it was a limitation probably because there's a hint at
Yeah,
the very beginning where the lady, if you go back to where what's his face was, the guy who
Dario
hides in the
Rosso.
yeah, if you
Yeah,
double
yeah,
back, you that lady, she's like getting eaten. She was running away,
yeah.
but then she gets caught by zombies and you see her dead corpse.
Well, see, that's actually one of the interesting things about the game is that depending on what route you take, there's actually different things happening.
Oh yeah, I
So
forgot to mention that too. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, yeah. So what that tells me is that when you initially got out of the warehouse, you could either go to the door that's at the top, like straight to the top of the screen, or you could go down the alleyway at the bottom, right? So what that tells me is you took the door up top, and then you did like a circle, and then went back through the alleyway, where that lady gets eaten. Cause
I
like
went through
it,
the alley and then I went around through the street.
yeah,
And you know where the car is, and there's like
yeah,
a
yeah,
the zombie doesn't pop out of the car yet, but there's like a door that's like, oh yeah, something's probably gonna pop out there
yeah.
at a certain
No,
spot. Yeah,
yeah, I know, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. So the way you play the game, like depending on what paths you take, like in what order, um, things are happening in Raccoon City. So that's another thing too that the original has is like there's so much you can do.
hmm
There's different ways to play that like it actually affects the story and the gameplay. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
going like after you like I think it's after you pick up like one key item needed for the train. Like if you pick up say the cables or you pick up the oil additive or something, I don't know.
It was
And then you
the
go
oil additive, the fuse,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the electrical cable.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's two oil things. Like you need to make there's like the oil additive, the oil like itself or something like that, which you mix together.
yeah,
There's the cables and then there's the fuse. So there's actually four items.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's besides the point.
hmm
You go pick up one of the key items needed for the train, and then if you go back to the warehouse, like you see that Dario actually worked up the courage to leave
Oh
like the
yeah,
truck.
I saw that.
Yeah, and
Dude,
then
that was so cool.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
there's another part too where like if you go to the TV station where you pick up one of the oils, like it's either the one that's in the orange bottle. I can't remember which. I think that's the oil additive.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go there first and then you go pick up some of the key items and then you go back to the TV station, there's gonna be like a separate cutscene where that guy that got killed, that guy that Nikolai killed, what's his name? Um ah
It's not.
The one who,
No.
in the remake, he's like, "Don't look at me like that. I'm not infected." What's his name? I forget his name.
Is it Murphy?
Murphy. Yes. If you go,
Cause
so if you go to the TV station first, and then you go pick up some of the key items, and then you go back to the TV station, there's a cutscene that plays where Murphy like he full on turns into a zombie, and Carlos is
what?
there. Yes.
Oh wait, no, I got that one. That's the one I got.
So yeah, so there's a bunch of different things that happen. Like I said, it all
So
depends on which path you take and what order. Like stuff happens in the game
wait,
that
so
offers. Huh?
yeah,
What?
so when you played, did Nikolai kill Murphy or did Carlos kill Murphy?
No, Nikolai killed Murphy.
When I played, Carlos had to kill Murphy.
Yeah, that's okay. So you probably saved the TV station for last then or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to that place where they had the I forgot what they were keeping in there. I think there was a key item in there where there's you had to regulate the temperature, and they were keeping something in like a regulated temperature area. I forget what it was for, but
I'm trying to remember, but
yeah. So you have to go through you put out the fire, right? Where the
yeah,
dogs come out, and you go down
yeah,
there, and then there's an area where you look at the TV or whatever.
yeah. That's the TV station.
Oh, okay, that's a TV station. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah. So I went to the TV station last, I guess, or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So interesting game, man.
Yeah.
A lot really good that it's not in the remake, but the remake has some good redeeming qualities to where it's worth playing in my opinion, but it's a lot missing that I see now
Yeah.
that makes it not as I'm not as high on it anymore as I was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're already at we talked
we're
about
probably
Resident Evil
already
for
like
a
at
good
the
like 30
40-minute mark
minutes.
already on the podcast, and we've only talked about like one subject. So
Yeah, but I thought it was a good discussion to have.
okay, well let's move on before we keep talking about it. So
Okay, we'll move on. Oh, so for you, you were muted, but did you play anything?
no, just I've just been at work, so like
Yeah.
I haven't really had time to. Like when I
Okay.
get off work, like I literally just come home to go to sleep, and then I sleep in, and then I wake up just enough to like take a shower, go
Got you,
back to
got you.
work. Like I like it's been what like 3 weeks already, but
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't really had time. So
That's crazy.
Reasonable. Yeah.
Insane.
All right. All right, so we can go ahead and move on to the stories of the week. Two stories. First one is not really a story; it's just statistics. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and go over the game sales for the month of April. Um, this is provided by the MPD group. I have a list here from VentureBeat. It was written by Jeff Grubb, but it was the data was gotten from the MPD group. I have the top selling games of April, the top 20. So what I'm thinking is that we're just going to go ahead and go down the list, and if a game that's placed at a certain spot catches your eye, we can just go ahead and talk about it. Sound good?
All right. Sound
yeah,
good?
All right. All right. So the game that sold the most in the month of April, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number two, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty is kind of like that Grand Theft Auto factor to where it's always selling really a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Number three, Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh,
Yeah, those sales do
still
not
selling.
include the digital sales. So it would have probably been higher if the digital sales were included.
Probably.
Yep. Number four, NBA 2K20. Number five, Grand Theft Auto 5.
What the?
Damn.
Yeah. I know Grand Theft
That
Auto
didn't
5.
happen.
It's just I don't know something about that game. People just love it, man.
But how does it keep selling? Like what?
More people,
Anyways,
I don't know. Like more people are getting systems, and then with those systems, people are just like, well, might as well just get Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't know, man.
it's insane.
Yeah. Number six, Resident Evil 3 remake. Number seven, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 remastered. Number eight, MLB The Show 20. Number nine, Madden 20. Number
Sports games.
10, Red Dead Redemption 2. So another Rockstar game.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018.
2018.
So it's 10 in the top 10 for April of 2020. So people love that game as well. All right, so 11 through 20, we can go ahead and jot these off real quick. Just Dance 2020 is at number 11. Number number 12, FIFA 20.
Ew.
Number number 13, Mortal Kombat 11. 14, Borderlands 3. 15, Predator Hunting Grounds. Number 16, not including digital sales, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah. 17, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Number 18, Persona 5 Royal. Um, I'm not sure if that's good or not for Persona 5 because that came out in March 31st, right? And so they
Yeah.
basically just had April to sell. I mean, 31st, that includes all the pre-orders and everything that people were invested in already. And I think that's a pretty big, significant portion of the audience for Persona 5.
Hmm.
So that might have been included in March. I'm not sure, but I was hoping to see a little bit higher than 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 19, Need for Speed Heat. And number 20 at the bottom, number 20, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
And
Yeah. So a lot of games that we don't play that was on this
Yeah.
list. Yeah, so that
Well,
just
like,
goes.
like
Go
appeal
ahead.
to like casual gamers, you know,
Yeah,
not casual gamers, but like to general. Oh yeah. Like they're not too niche. Like I said, a
yeah, I
lot of
see
the
what you're
sports
saying.
games.
I guess you would call like more mainstream games.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find a adjective to describe what those kind of games are. But like I play Madden and I like Madden, but um, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy Madden because it doesn't change.
yeah,
And I think for other people that doesn't matter. Like Madden's Madden and they're just going to get it. So
yeah.
yeah, it's just a different mentality of different gamers. I think we're more of the minority compared to the majority. But yeah, that was the top 20 best-selling games of April. Any final comments about what we went over, or shall we go on to the next thing?
Let's move on.
All right. All right, so moving on. Just a quick PSA about game showcases that are going to be happening. The first thing is that the Summer Games Fest, they're going to be having developer showcases on June 22nd. That one's going to be happening at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And they're also going to be having another one on July 20th. What they say about these showcases is that you'll be tuning in for updates on upcoming independent and larger scale studio projects. So there's going to be indies there, and there's also going to be projects that are bigger budget that a lot of people might be looking forward to. So if you want to check out the newest games, you can go ahead and check that out when they come out. Also, there's also going to be a new Game Plus Expo on June 23rd, and that's also going to be happening at 8 a.m. PST Pacific time. There's going to be 14 developers there, very Japanese focused. The developers that are include Sega, Atlas, Koei Tecmo, NIS
Yeah, you're right.
America, and Arc System Works, and also Inti Creates. Inti Creates is the developers behind Mega Man Zero from the 2000s. And I actually tried a demo of Gunvolt on my 3DS, and it's a Mega Man inspired game, and it's really good. Um, so that's pretty interesting. Out of all those developers that I mentioned, is there something that you're looking forward to seeing possibly from them?
Um, for me, it's Atlas. Um,
Atlas?
yeah, hopefully like something about Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Ah, right, dude.
It's the
Yeah, we
only
have
it's
heard we haven't heard anything about that.
it's the only game that they showed at the Switch reveal that we haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen anything from, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people are like they're anticipating. Well, they're looking forward to hearing more about that game. So maybe get something from them because it's been a while.
Right. Personally, for
Yeah,
me, I was looking to Persona 5 Scramble. Maybe they'll announce a Western release date at this
yeah,
thing. It's probably highly possible. And I talked about Ys with you guys a lot. It's a Japanese role playing game. It's more action oriented. NIS America, they take care of that for us in the US. So East 9 is supposed to be is I don't know if it's out in Japan, but hopefully they'll give us details about a Western release date, which I'd be very excited for. Yeah. And
didn't they release a new game a couple years back?
yeah, they released East 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. I tried the demo of it. It seems like a game that I would like, except that it was a lot of what I played of E7 or East, what was it called? Memories of Celceta on my Vita.
Yeah,
It was pretty much. I feel like it was more of the same game, and it didn't really look much better or play much differently to make me want to drop $60 on it. So I passed on it. So I'm looking to East 9 being a game that I will go back into the series for because I really enjoyed my time with Memories of Celceta. Yeah. And if I'm dreaming, you guys know I like Bleach, and there's going to be fighting game developers there. So and Bleach is gonna have a new, you know,
All right,
the
coming
rest
back.
of the manga is gonna be animated. So hopefully, maybe if I'm really lucky, there'll be a Bleach fighting game by like Arc System Works or some other other
Yeah,
developer. That'd be super cool if that was the case, because there's so many great characters in Bleach, and I think their movesets would translate very well into a fighting game of like current stature. Yep. So yeah, that's going to be happening on June 23rd at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Last two showcases, they're indie center showcases. The first one is was brought to my attention by Sal Romano from Gamatsu. There's going to be a Wholesome Direct 2020. It's called Wholesome Direct on
awesome.
yeah, on May 26th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And there's also going to be another indie showcase. This was brought to my attention by Scott Dew from Dot Esports. It's going to be by Guerrilla Collective, and it's going to be happening from June 6th to June 8th, which is also going to be an indie centered showcase. So a lot of showcases happening. I don't know if that's reflective of the environment that's being propagated because there's no E3 and just developers and different organizers are jumping at the chance to show off their games and to organize things. So the landscape of all this is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably is like a direct response to the situation.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it's interesting that most of them, well, not most of them, but you have like a lot of focus on indie games. I think now is like a really good time for these games to kind of get out there and
Be
you
on the
know,
spotlight.
yeah, be on the spotlight and have people actually, pay more attention to those games and hopefully, support more indie games.
Yeah, because a lot of indie, well, I don't know about a lot, but a good amount of indie games actually, they turn out to be innovative, fun to play, you know. So having them have a spotlight's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to do it for the stories for this week. Not a lot of news this week, so just a little fun segments for us to go over. Um, at the beginning of the podcast, I did say that we were going to go over our favorite games of the generation, and we're over an hour into the podcast, so I'd still be down to do it, but I don't know. Maybe we should save it for another time. I think it's going to take us like quite a bit of time, so maybe we'll save it for another time.
Yeah, it could be
Okay.
Yeah,
a hefty
yeah,
discussion.
yeah. So we'll save it for another time because our Resident Evil 3 discussion did take up a lot. So we can go ahead and move on to pass or play. Please look forward to to our opinions about the our favorite games of the generation. However, all right. So pass or play. Pass or play. How it works? We're going to be choosing a game. We're going to be taking a quote from the back of the box, and the rest of the panel has to tell the person that chose the game if they would pass on it or play it based on that description. All right. So today we have Luis and my co-host Andres that have a game chosen out. Gentlemen, if you'd like to take over.
All right. I'll go first, I guess. I have mine ready on
Okay.
two.
I'm all ears, brother.
Okay. So you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay. Is my boy
Oh,
ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
perfect.
Okay. Okay. So again, I'm gonna be um what's it called? Not censoring.
Um, Omitting.
Omitting.
I'm gonna be omitting a couple of words. Okay. So
Okay.
forge your own path in blank. An epic action adventure through a vast ruined kingdom of insects and heroes. Explore twisting caverns, battle-tainted creatures, and befriend bizarre bugs, all in a classic hand-drawn 2D style. Sorry about my.
No, you're good.
Okay. I think I already know what it is.
We're talking about. Oh, wait.
Yeah, it would be a little too, you know,
I'm
um,
pretty sure that's
uh,
like that's Mystery Dungeon. That definitely sounds like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
I was gonna say Pikmin.
that's a good one.
Because
I mean,
I'm thinking about insects. Aren't there like little critters and stuff in Pikmin? But they
yeah.
said tainted, and I don't think they would describe Pikmin as tainted. Huh. Action adventure. What'd you say it was, Andres? Or
That
what do you
that
think?
definitely sounds like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon because he said something
Pokemon?
about exploring caverns and
Oh, true.
like. Uh, but I
Huh,
don't know.
huh,
I've
huh.
never played a Pikmin game, so it could be Pikmin 2. I don't know.
Yeah, that tainted is throwing me off though, because I feel like Miyamoto wouldn't let that fly.
But,
And then what's really luring me towards that like that because it said something about 2D art style or whatever.
yeah.
Hand drawn.
That's what that's yeah, the hand drawn 2D art style. That's what's leading me towards Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. At least the new one, what is it, Mystery Dungeon DX or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
So
more time for the
You
culture.
guys,
I guess I okay, that it's intriguing enough to me to say play, and my guess is that it's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX.
all right. You want me to read again, Ray?
Yes, please.
Okay. Forge your own path in blank, an epic action adventure through a vast ruined kingdom of insects and heroes. Explore twisting caverns, battle tainted creatures, and befriend bizarre bugs, all in a classic hand-drawn 2D style.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, hold on. I didn't hear that first part. Okay, I now rescind my guess of Pokemon.
What the heck?
I don't think it's Pokemon because they wouldn't refer to Pokemon as insects and
Yeah,
bugs.
yeah. Yeah, but because it's well, I didn't really hear that. I couldn't really hear that first part. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I officially rescind my guess of Pokemon because that's definitely not Pokemon.
Did it say something about befriending?
Yeah. Yeah, befriend bizarre bugs.
Hmm. I smell Pikmin in this, man.
So would
But
you
then it
pass or
says something
favorite?
about a
But it's
king. Is there such a thing as a kingdom in Pikmin? Because it says something about a kingdom, right?
I didn't
Ah,
hear no
Yeah.
kingdom. Oh, there's
I
a
did.
kingdom?
I'll read it again. Forge your own path in blank. An epic action adventure through a vast ruined kingdom of insects and heroes. Explore
Hmm.
twisting caverns, battle tainted creatures, and befriend bizarre bugs, all in a classic hand-drawn 2D style.
This sounds like
Dang,
an
I
old
have
game.
I have absolutely no idea what that is. Yeah, no, no. As soon as I heard something about a kingdom, I was just like, "There's no kingdoms in Pokemon."
No.
See, when I think of
So
action
from that
adventure,
description,
think when I think of action adventure, I don't think 2D. So that's throwing me off.
so from the description, would you guys play or pass?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold on to my play. I think I'm gonna hold on to my play, but that kind of sounds like an ancient ruined kingdom of insects and heroes.
Yeah.
Dang, I have absolutely no idea, but it's intriguing
Hmm.
because you're basically saying that like that in this world it's basically divided between two races, which is like the insect race and the human race, and they somehow have to like you know coexist together.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for games like that where it's like where like it's two warring races or something. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hold on to my play, but I still have no idea what it is. I have no
All right.
guesses.
Play.
Yeah, I'm gonna play as well because um, that kingdom sounds very intriguing to me, and I do like hand drawn and I do like action adventure. So off of those facets alone, I'm gonna say play.
What about Jose? I want to hear what Jose has to say.
I I think I know what the game is. I think it's Hollow Knight. Um,
That's a good. I wasn't even
and
thinking that.
I mean, I would play, but then I feel like I'd be too hypocritical because we have that game on the Switch, um, the digital copy, and
Hmm.
I haven't touched it. So I mean, I'd be lying if I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna play," because it's right there. Like I said, intriguing. I mean, it sounds interesting based on the description. Um, if it's not Hollow Knight, based on the description, I would still play it because it is an action adventure, which are always fun. Um, and I like the 2D animation aspect of it. Um, so yeah, I would play.
So
Hmm.
3 plays.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wait, did
sir.
you say right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Okay, yeah, it is indeed Hollow Knight.
It is Hollow
I went
Knight.
with an
What the heck?
I went with an indie game this time,
Whack.
and it's
I'll,
Popular in the game.
it's a pretty popular indie game. I feel if like the description included like Metroidvania, because it is a Metroidvania,
yeah,
it
it's
would have
like
been
I should have went my
uh-huh.
gut and heard 2D. I should have assumed it was side scrolling.
Mhm. But yeah,
Okay, well, I don't know. That's already like 3 games in a row that y'all have me like y'all
Swindled.
tricked me into. Yeah, y'all swindled me into playing, but like
yeah, I was trying to choose games that I played, so and my library isn't that big, so I have to like
Choose wisely.
yeah.
okay,
I don't
Interesting.
I got mine, and it's gonna be kind of a long one because it's I don't know like they
Resident Evil
just
3.
went with a really descriptive tagline. So
All right,
okay, whenever y'all are ready.
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 Okay, so here's the tagline, right? One princess, two war-torn lands, an epic quest for peace. Now here's the description, okay?
Hmm.
After centuries of war, the two lands bordering an impenetrable swampland have finally reached an armistice. Mysteriously, the noble princess disappears somewhere near the war-ravaged front line. Distraught, her sister goes in search of the princess alone, and on her journey meets a mysterious young warrior. Their destinies soon entwine. The next chapter in this epic tale of magic and mystery now unfolds. The fate of what lies ahead rests in your control.
Hmm.
Mm.
I hear female protagonist, so I'm already in off of that.
Okay, I'm going to
I
read it
mean,
again because that was kind of long.
yeah,
Sure, go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, so I'm from the very beginning, right? Here's the tagline. One princess, two war-torn lands, an epic quest for peace. After centuries of war, the two lands bordering on an impenetrable swampland have finally reached an armistice. Mysteriously, the noble princess disappears somewhere near the war-ravaged front line. Distraught, her sister goes in search of the princess alone, and on her journey meets a mysterious young warrior. Their destinies soon entwine. The next chapter in this epic tale of magic and mystery now unfolds. The fate of what lies ahead rests in your control.
And so it's a sequel.
It is
Yeah,
a
I feel like
sequel. It
it's a
is a
sequel.
sequel. Yeah.
My first thought was Tales of Xillia 2.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Well, that tells off game.
A
Yeah,
Tales
same.
of game.
The only
Well,
thing that,
there's
yeah,
very few Tales of games that actually have a sequel. So
Yeah.
Two Lands, Armistice, Missing Princess. Sounds
Well, I mean,
very JRPG-ish.
Yeah,
yes.
based on the description, um, I started thinking about Twilight Princess for some reason. So
okay.
based off of that, I would play. It's interesting.
Oh,
Just
true.
because it took Breath or the Legend of Zelda into your mind.
Yeah, because it's reminiscent of that kind of storyline.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
dude, yeah. Yeah, everything's lining up.
I don't think it's Twilight Princess though, but
No, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
yeah, but yeah, I would play. And I have no idea. I feel like it is a Tales of game, but I don't know which one. I'm not too familiar with it.
I don't
Okay.
think it's Xeno.
No, it sounds more um fantasy.
Or it can be like an old school JRPG too. What was
Well, I'll play.
what was he playing? Grandia?
Grandia.
Mm,
I don't know enough about that.
yeah, me neither. I just want to throw that out there just in case. But yeah, I'm gonna play.
Okay, so we got two
It
plays.
sounds like a JRPG, so I'm always down for that kind of things.
Okay, so we sweep across the board. We have plays all around.
Yep.
Jose said
Okay,
play?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. He did. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was the first one to say play.
Right.
Okay, so the game in question was actually Breath of Fire 4 for
Oh
the
my god.
original PlayStation.
That crossed
Dude,
my
the
mind.
old school. Yeah.
Yep.
The one you shared yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally shared it with y'all yesterday, and I was just like,
Yeah.
would this be too obvious?
Obviously not.
And it crossed my mind. I'm like, but I didn't say anything. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I,
Mm,
I
I was deceived by the cover art. The cover art didn't scream like that premise to me. That's why. Dang, that was a good pull, man.
those were some nice graphics though on the
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
on
PlayStation.
what?
the.
Like when I first played Breath of Fire 4, I remember I remember like just like the gameplay and everything was like it was different, but it was familiar, but it was different, you know? Cuz like you know how most games like, like it's either like at a set camera or like, the camera set, north, south, east, west. Like I remember like for some reason this always stuck out to me that like the camera was set at an angle. So you could only face northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Like it was always like it was never on the four directions. Like it was in the middle of the four directions, you know?
Yeah.
And I always thought that was so
Ah,
weird that the camera was set up that way. But then like I don't know, like that for some reason that always stuck out to me.
is
And
that only
then
in the
this was
battles or when you're exploring as well?
no, like that's in the overworld and well in the battles too. Like it was like in a slant. It was like in a diagonal view also, like
Mm,
the fight line and everything. Like it was all like set up diagonally.
yeah.
So and then this was one of the first games that I remember at least that it had like a fusion type system because like the main character he could transform like he could like fuse with dragons basically. So um
Beastmaster.
well, no, because like like in the world that they had that like the world that was set up here was that there's like eight dragons or something, and they basically like they're like the guardians of the world, right? So
Uh-huh.
there's like a sky dragon, a ground dragon, an ocean dragon, a celestial dragon, blah blah blah. So like you have to find these dragons. Like they're all completely optional, by the way. They're all completely optional, with the exception of like three of them. Um, but if you went out and you found the dragons out in the overworld, because they didn't tell you like where they were, like you literally had to explore on your own because they're optional again, right?
Kind of like
If
the
you
root
went and you
the
found
web.
them, like you could actually like get their power and you could fuse
Mm,
into them, so you become like a human dragon hybrid to fight in the battles, which was pretty cool. Not only that, but there's like certain parts in the story, like there's story segments where you actually play as the villain too, which I don't
cool.
know why, but I love games that let you play as the villain.
Yeah, there's not many that do that.
It's very few that let you do that, and that was another thing why I really like this game because you could actually play as the main antagonist.
That's sick, man.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
really cool. Like that. Like when I saw it yesterday, because I was on my lunch break yesterday, and I was just on Twitter, and this random person like posted something about it, and like it showed up on my timeline because someone I'm following like liked that post, and I
Hmm.
saw it, and I was just like, oh man, like, that was a really good game. That was a really good game. And like I don't know, I kind of feel like playing it now, but I have to dig out my PlayStation. I have to see if it still works.
PlayStation, at least on my experience, is kind of hard to like for newer TVs. Well, you have the other TV, so that's good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still have like my old like box TV, so I
Yeah.
have no, I could, yeah, I have it like right there on the corner of my room. I
Yeah.
could just hook it up there,
True.
but
True. 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 All right, that was fun, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so that's gonna bring us to the end of the podcast. Thank you for everybody that has been viewing us. If you'd like to see more of us, we are Road Jump Media. We have our own official website that you can search up by just typing in Road Jump Media, and you can also follow us on our socials. We're on pretty much every social media platform, so go ahead and give us a follow. We also have a YouTube channel where we post things, so go ahead and check us out there as well. Thank you for watching, and
Oh, whoa, whoa,
oh,
whoa! Don't forget tonight we're continuing our gameplay stream of Resident Evil 5. If anyone wants to check that out too.
true, true, yes. So, my co-host Andres and I, we're gonna be continuing Resident Evil 5 on Twitch. You can find us there at Road Jump Media as well. If you want to tune in and watch us there, we'll be happy to have you. All right, you guys.
Nice. Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
joining
Thanks for
us.
watching. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
All right.
listening.
All right. Thank you. See you guys next time.